All right, guys. So I have a couple of things that I wanted to say about this video. Man, my hair looks wild. Good thing I'm getting it cut today. But one of the things that I noticed about the video is that you are not able to see the little windows that pop up, such as when I right click on something and I go to the photo merge selection and hit the panorama, and then the window that pops up to show me the preview of the panorama, you're not able to see that either. So just kind of pretend like you see it. Just follow the instructions that I'm saying, and it'll show up on your screen. It's just not showing up on mine when I do a screen capture. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. I want to say this in the beginning, so that way when you're watching the video, you already know what to expect. When I right click on my images and I hit photo merge and the window pops up that show me the preview of the panorama, you will not be able to see it in my video, but you can see it in yours if you're following along with your own photo editing and stuff like that. I am using Adobe Lightroom. It will not work the same way in other software, but I can do some tutorials of other software. It's just that Adobe Lightroom is how I work faster because it's what I'm used to. So that's just kind of what I stick with when I'm trying to teach somebody something. So yeah, just thought I might throw that out there. Please enjoy the video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Do not forget to like and subscribe. Please like the video so that other people can see it. A lot of this information is very, very useful information that a lot of people charge money for. So I'm putting it out there for free. And I'm letting you kind of see the process of how to edit photos at home. Thanks for watching.
Okay, guys, what is up, everybody? This is another learn to edit video that I'm making here. And today we have a sunset panorama. We actually have more than one sunset panorama. I shot these back in May. These were on in May 25th, 2022. And I'm just kind of looking at all my images, and as you can see, most of them are vertical shots, and that's how we shoot our panorama. Now I don't know which one of these panoramas are gonna be the image that I like, because I kind of shot these forever ago, and so I'm not really considering what the money shots would be. So let's just find one that I think will turn out amazing, and I'll show you my camera settings on this. So my camera settings were 1/80 of a shutter, ISO 800. I remember the lens I was using. I was using the Pentax 645A dash A, that is 35 millimeter f3.5 medium format lens. I do remember this, so I did recall using that lens to do it. Actually, this was shot on May 24th, not 25th, but I don't know why they put this in the 25th folder. Maybe it was May 25th and my camera was just out of date. I don't know. So the first thing we do with all our images, now I have yet to find this out, but I just been kind of skipping past it. Sometimes you can do it just to be safe, and that's make sure that all the images have the same white balance. I don't know if when Adobe stitched these together, do they correct the white balance on all images? I have no idea. So that's just been one of the things that I've been trying to do. But today I'm going to skip past making sure they all have the same white balance. I did find out that every time I click my keyboard, my audio start to skip. So like when I'm pressing buttons, I'm not going to talk, because I realize that's the trick. Don't press buttons on the keyboard and talk at the same time, because I think the mic is on the keyboard somewhere. So let's go ahead and select all of these images that we want to use. Make sure they're all part of the same series. And you can kind of tell the direction they're going. I can see the beginning of that shot right there on that image, number 10. And I can see the end of that shot on number 22. So now we have, well, I don't know how many images we have. So what we do is we want to right click on just one, we want to go to photo merge right there, and then we go to panorama. And so as Adobe Lightroom does its thing, it's going to merge all of those images together as a panorama. As far as what kind of monkey tricks it does in the background to make that happen, I don't know, but it's doing it. So now we can see all of our images are stitched together as one big image, but then we have a few things that we can select. Now, I don't know the scientific words behind all of these, so I just kind of click them and see which one give me the image I like. And then let's go to perspective. Perspective is usually drastically different. See, that's drastically different. I don't like it because it kind of take that curve off the water. And I almost don't like that curve. I kind of like this a whole lot more. So we're going to go with this, because I remember being here and this looked more like this than it did the other way around. I usually hit auto crop so that I don't have to go back and crop it. And sometimes I hit auto settings just so that way it can kind of give me the settings that I want to see, that I'll probably select anyway. And I just go to merge. See the loading bar, it says creating panorama, so we'll let it do its thing. Went backwards. Okay, come on, come on. I really don't want to have to speed this up inside of editing. I want to just get this video done with nothing to edit after I'm done. Okay, so our panorama look almost as similar as the shot right next to it. The only thing different is you can clearly see that it's wider, but I was in the same spot though. And so that's our panorama right here. And so we go ahead and click on that image, hit the develop module right up there, and see, like, we can see that it has already applied settings. Now the good thing about panoramas is that it drastically increases the size of your image. So I'm getting ready to do a megapixel count and tell you exactly how large this image is. Pull up my calculator. And so we just multiply the dimensions, 10, 7, 6, 8 by 6002. So this is a 64 megapixel image we have here. 64 megapixels. The camera I used only shoots 30 megapixels, but let's not forget that a lot of our image is overlapped. The whole thing isn't as sharp as we'd like it to be. That's because it was very, very, very low light. And so the first thing I do with an image like this is I go and I try to correct the horizon. I want the horizon to be at like the same level. There we go. So the horizon is where it need to be, which I'm gonna have to go back and change my crop. Well, let's change our crop anyway. I kind of want a 16 by 9 crop. That looks good. And so that's what we have left to work with. However, I kind of want a little more of that over there. Now this image doesn't look the greatest. Not gonna lie, this isn't the most creative and cool image that we can have, but it does give you a little bit of an outline on how to put together a panorama and how to edit a sunset picture. Now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna reset some of these levels so that way you can kind of see how the image would have looked at first, like this. And so the first thing I want to do with the sunset is I want to see how much sun I have, like taking my highlights down. Like, this is the best part about working on raw images. DNG, CR3, PEF, if you ever shot Pentax, raw, not JPG or HEIF or any of that mess. Raw is the only way you can actually manipulate individual channels of the image. If this was a JPEG, this would have fell apart the moment I hit one slider. That's why so many people So many people love it when photographers edit pictures because it's so much different than what they're used to when they try to, put a color filter on something like that. But like what a lot of people don't understand is that the format, like the image format, is what'll give you the ability to edit it. And so right here, I'm working on my on the contrast in my lights. I'm going to excite that up a little bit more, and I might want to darken the contrast of my darks because, like, let's just face it, this image probably won't look better than this. It probably can if I spent a million years on it, but I'm just really just showing you how to put a panorama together. And so we seen that the image wasn't all that sharp, and so what we do is we just go and just add a little bit of sharpening to it. Oh, and let's not forget our noise reduction. ISO 800, and I drag lifted shadows. And so that's kind of what we have there. I really don't need to manipulate colors on this image because, let's just face it, it's not the greatest image in the world. Then let's just go and add a little clarity. Adding a little clarity. I'm gonna show you what clarity does, right? So let's look at the image. I'm gonna use 0 clarity. Then I'm gonna use 100 clarity. Well, I use a negative 100 clarity and then 100 clarity. Now let's go to 0 clarity. So that's 0. That's negative 100 clarity. That's plus 100 clarity. So we want it somewhere around 15, something like that. Then our blacks, like, we really don't have to do much with our blacks, but we can if we want. But I noticed, like, right up in here in the sun, it's a huge lack of contrast back there. And so we might be better off adding a little contrast in there, even though it does darken things a little bit more, but it can work. And then I put my highlights on 0. So that's how you edit a panorama. That's kind of how you stitch one together, and that's how you play around with it. There's more to editing an image, but this is what we got. But we can always go to the next image, see if we like that one a little bit more. I can clearly see that I was trying to photograph the sky and not everything else, because the sky is what I have composed right and not everything else. But I got another panel in this series that we can go look at. I've got one more panel. I actually had one at the top and I got one at the bottom. I think this one down here at the bottom might be a little more for me. So let's see. So I gotta remember not to talk and click the mouse. Alright, so I got my 14 images selected. Let's not forget, right click on one, even the beginning one, doesn't matter. Photo merge, panorama. Let it do its thing. So that's what we got out of our auto modes. Let's see what cylindrical will give us. No, that don't look too bad. Let's see what perspective gives us. I think I'll roll with cylindrical. Actually, let's roll with perspective this time. My horizon look a little bit better. Let's uncheck auto crop and see what kind of monkey tricks had to be done to get me that shot. You see how it had to stitch all them pictures together? We can clearly see overlap in some of the images. Let's take auto settings off this time, and then we'll build it from the ground up, including our crop. So let's hit merge. And it'll do its thing just like it did before. Hmm. Keeps going backwards. Maybe it might have realized it made a mistake somewhere and went back and fixed it. And this would be the perfect image for me to show you how to go underneath the hood of an image to edit it. This is an unknown art to a lot of people. Most people don't know how this works. Most people can only imagine what a photographer goes through when they're editing images. They think it's as easy as picking a filter and saying, okay, it's done. That's not the way it works. Each and every image has to be built from the ground up. So if you shoot a wedding and come home with 700 images, guess what? Don't tell them it'll be done in a few days. Just don't. I try not to, then sometimes I find myself talking too fast and trying to make people feel comfortable with me and stuff like that, and I tell them it'll be done sooner than I want it to, and then I'm in a mess and I'm having to sort through hundreds of images in a few days. Alright, so let's go to the crop we want. I don't like that crop. Let's just go to the original one. Or no, let's just make a custom one. Um, yeah, let's make a custom crop because I don't like the one they gave us. No, let's make a custom crop. Stop doing that. Oh, uncheck. Uncheck the lock. I haven't done a custom crop in ages, so I usually just pick an aspect ratio that's popular and roll with that because I know that there's more uses for the image with a more standard aspect ratio. But this is completely non-standard here. And let me get as much of that image as I can. Then let's just undo our crop. So that's what we have. So now this is clearly a bigger image, right? Way bigger than the one we had. Let's do our megapixel count. See what we have. Alright, now this is a 118 megapixel image here. 118. This can be printed as big as a house. It can. So now let's just go and do some of our settings. Let's raise our exposure just a bit, maybe about one good stop. Take our highlights down like we did before. Bring up our shadows, kind of give us a more HDR look. Now this looks extremely flat. Oh, I forgot something. Fixing my horizon in my crop. So now that we fixed the horizon, we might have to readjust our crop. And we probably have a few less megapixels than what we counted at first. But at least we got our crop fixed. Alright. Okay, so now usually whenever I get a dull image like this, let's go in and see what we have to work with. So we've got noise everywhere from lifting shadows. We have people sitting right there who I probably didn't even know was there at first. We got a couple things I can move out. Let's do a little bit something different to this shot right here. Let's take some stuff out of this picture. I haven't showed you that yet on a shot like this. Let's just take stuff out. Boom, I don't want that there. Okay. That looks alright. That looks passable. That looks acceptable. Can't nobody tell that it was literally just stamped. This little buoy in the water. Let's just say we don't want that. Let's take that out. Okay. No, that actually looks stamped. So let's try that one again. I promise. Like stamping and cloning out water is kind of difficult. Because it is. It's one of those things where you can clearly see the line it used to be. Alright, so we stamped that out pretty good. Looks nice. And let's go and stamp these people out of the mix. Yeah, let's see if we can pull them out. Man, it doesn't look too bad. I mean, we do got a little bit of a flaw in it right there, but it actually looks passable. I could spend more time, but let's just get this image out of the way here. And so let's not forget another thing I do is I go and excite my highlights by adding a little more contrast in the whites. And my nephew was at the door making noise, not really understanding that I do not have it like that to be telling him to stop in the middle of my video, because then I'll have to edit this and cut it out. I didn't want to do that. Alright, so yeah, he's not really used to me making videos and inside the house, so it's not really something he's used to. So I guess after I'm done, I can tell him the next time when I'm recording to just, you don't come bother me on purpose knowing that's what you're trying to do. Okay. But still. Alright. So we took some noise out. There's not a whole lot of noise that we took out. There's not a lot we can do about the lack of detail in this image. I manually focused this image and it was a quick thing to do. But there's a trick that you can use with an image that has a lack of detail, and I'll show you that trick in just a second. Alright, so I went and dehazed it a little bit, and that just kind of punched everything up more. All of these rocks and stuff like that are very, very dark, but this is probably the most we can get out of this image here. And yeah, that's pretty much all we can pull out of this image right here. I mean, I can show you a little bit more things that we can do to try to make this image look better, such as pulling out a brush and brushing the exposure on all of this. But I guess that's what you come to my one-on-one classes for, to learn how to do stuff like that. But other than that, yeah, we got a quick little sunset, a couple of them, and something's not flying too well with me here with this image, so let's figure it out. It's probably the blacks. Yeah. Oh wait, we got a little something right here. I don't want that in there. Let's take that out. Well, sometimes it take a little minute for it to do its thing. Let's see what that looks like. I already knew that was gonna look bad, so let's just go to heal, see if that'll heal that out. And clearly we gotta hit refresh. Yeah, I'm using a Surface Pro 7 Plus i5 model, so there are computers that'll run faster than this, but this does everything I need. So that's the image we have. Now I'll go ahead and reset this image and show you what it looked like before. Ooh, or I can undo that and show you what it looked like after. But let's not forget that at first it was an image of a bunch of these vertical shots, and it turned into this guy here. So there you go. I just showed you two panoramas, two of them that you can learn from, but they're both of the same image. I have more images, like far more sunsets that I've done out of this shoot. There are some things that I do all the time. Lower highlights, raise up shadows, correct the horizon. Those are just things that I know to just automatically go in and do whenever I have a certain kind of image that has a lot of dynamic range to it. Well, straightening your horizon has nothing to do with dynamic range, but just those certain kinds of images I know I'm going to have to do certain things for. It's excite my lights up in this, uh, excite my shadows a bit more, I mean my darks, excite my shadows a bit more. I don't really have much more contrast in the sky to work with. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to a dehaze, and I just kind of play with it until it fits my taste. And then I'll show you a little funny trick I can do. So I'll take a masking brush. Let's hit the sky. AI is doing everything these days. Because I don't like my contrast in the sky. I just don't. And let's see if it actually hit the sky. Yep, it cut the sky out perfect. And so now I'm just gonna go and raise my contrast in the sky. Give me a better looking sky. It looks a little cartoony, but I know a lot of people probably know that I try to go for that look in my images. It's not something that I just don't know how to do right. It's something I try to go for in my images. I get a lot of extra scientific guys in some of the photography Facebook groups. Oh, that's so out of gamut. Like, dude, gamut is for people trying to produce content for other people. I'm doing this myself so it can look the way I want. Like trying to do all that is when you're trying to work for somebody else, have somebody else's money on the line. But when you're making your own art, just make it, man. I don't like the saturation. I think it's too much blue. In fact, I don't like any of this. And stuff like that just happens. So pull back on that dehaze. But let's just keep the contrast though. So take the contrast out. You see how bland the sky got. And let's just add some in. Alright, there we go. That's the image right there. Another sunset. Knocked out, just like that. Does all of this stuff have to be perfectly bright? No, it doesn't, because at the end of the day, you're getting a photo of the sunset. And so you don't want to take too much away from what it is you're actually shooting, and that's the sky. But we can go and clean up noise in spots like this. So let's see what ISO I use. 1600, even higher than the last few images. So I'll use a little bit more noise reduction, like 41. And there we go. That's another sunset down. This image is completely passable. Yep. So that's another sunset down. If you guys have any questions, you need to learn anything specific, please leave it in the comments. Oh, I found something. Something back here. You see that big pole? That big old, telephone pole thing? I don't like stuff like that in my photos. I think that really takes away from just looking at nature. Like, dead serious. Let's see if it pulls it out. No, not too well, not too well. So let's see if we can find another spot. Let's see if we can do it differently. Okay, there we go. That cleaned it up a lot better. Whole lot better. We can kind of see a scar back there, but at least you don't see a big pole. This little piece of the stick is distracting. Like stuff like this, I do find to be a distraction, and I just take it out. As a person to look at that little piece of a stick and instantly think it's litter, because it looks like litter at a glance. I just have to take it out. There we go. You can't even tell it was right there. So that's our sunset. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Other than that, I thank you all for watching. I can always play with this a little bit more, but I have to end the video. So I'm just, yeah. Let's just be done playing with this. Let's change our balance back. Now it just looks too cool. I'm just so used to it. A little warm. There we go. It looks better to me now.